in this video, just look at the difference between what these containers look like now and then the next shot. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Thank you. So I'm going to show you how to go through the processes really quickly, how to make a solid coloured container into a grimy, horrible container. So I've got a blue one here. I've already dry brushed a little bit over the first step, and a container orange. It's very glossy, it just needs dulling down. So the first thing I'm doing is just dry brushing over a bone colour, just to give the wash something to stick to. That's probably okay now. Just some pre-highlighting. Okay, here I've got an orange, which I'm just going to put in quite roughly, just in a few places. I'll let it settle a little bit, and as it comes off of my brush, I will sort of dry brush it in to a few places just to simulate a bit of rust. There we go. And it's drying out a little bit. I can rub it in. Obviously not really going to bother with the orange one, doing this on the orange one. Doesn't really matter where you do it. As you might have seen from some of my other videos, I don't really care how strong this orange comes on, because I know I can dull it down afterwards. Okay, and now I take some Mournfang brown, slightly diluted, and just rub that in over the top. Again, I want to keep some of the orange showing, but I want to cover some of the orange up as well. And just let it transition around a little bit. Let it move a little bit from the orange to the brown in places, and stick to the orange, sorry, in others. Okay. So looks quite harsh on the camera, but actually it doesn't really look like that in real life. It's a lot duller. I think I've had this problem before, shown on camera with the red that I've used for this before as well, the cheap acrylic red. Okay, bit of all over, a bit dirty. Not enough dirt there, is there? Let's put a little bit on there. A little bit of brown there, a little bit of brown there. And that will rub in. So the way I'm sure you've, well, hopefully the way you've seen me do this sort of thing before, I'm not too worried about kind of like making a mistake, because I think if you put a big splodge of brown on and you don't like the look of it, you rub it around, move it around somewhere else, and it all looks good. And obviously I don't want everything to be dirty, but at the same time I don't want too many clean spots. Okay, there we are. So I'm going to wash them both now in blacky brown wash, a bit like Agrac's Earthshade, but my own mix. And then there'll be some highlights and lowlights afterwards, and then it'll be done. So really lathering on the wash. You can be a bit more careful with it if you're paying Games Workshop prices. I'm not. If you look through my videos, I made my own, so I can really afford to just splash it on and not really worry. Just make sure I get the coverage that I want. The coverage that I want is a lot of coverage. There we are, both washed over. Once that's done, another little go with some brown and a few highlights of the original colour, and I'll come back. So I'm taking some of the original blue and just putting it onto some of the panels. To reinstate some of that original blue. I start by just putting a bit on and then move it around. Looks much better when it dries. It just gives some of that original colour back. Makes it pop on these panels again. You could chip it on a little bit neater, maybe. Sorry, chip it on a little bit, like stipple on. Or you could go in very neat with it, but I find that as it dries off, just blend it in slightly. As it dries off, it transitions quite nicely into the rust. And then, yeah, on the other side there, and I'll put some on some of the panels here. Finally, with my very watered down brown paint, just put some on to some of the rust patches. Not all. And then as it dries and becomes a little bit easier to smudge, it just gets smudged in over some of that new blue paint, which can look a little bit bright, and it just dulls it down. Just adds that final layer to the rust on the top here. To dirty up slightly some of that blue. So with this orange one, I didn't put any new orange on, so I'm just making it very dirty on some of the panels down here, and then I'm just going to dull over any of the original orange gloss that hasn't been washed properly. So smush it around. take some of that off as it dries, just so that it's a bit more smudgy. There, and then let that dry off. And here we are, finished. Nothing says grimdark as like a manky old container. So that's the first one I did, and then we've got the orange one, and the blue one. Ready to play. Thanks for watching.